This is podcast 17 with Peter Hahn. Peter, welcome on.
What's up, Austin? I'm
Not
excited
much.
to be here.
Awesome. Well, where are you right now? Are you in Boston, New Jersey? Where is here?
Right now, I'm in Boston. So the spring semester ended, but I'm here for summer classes, and we're here until July. We're here until July.
Here until July. Now,
Yeah.
what summer classes are you taking?
So I'm taking Typography 1.
What's typography?
And then typography is like what you read. Like you go through a book, how a book is designed, that's typography.
Oh, how a book is designed. How, like scroll, is that a typography?
Scroll?
Yeah, you know, like the people, instead of books, they used to use scrolls. Is that typography?
That's more like writing. Typography is more like type, right? You start with like Gutenberg.
Oh, okay, with printing press.
Right, that's where typography first started.
Okay, gotcha.
And then now we have, Word, Google Docs. That's all typography. The way that you style your document, how you want it to look, present, your resume, what's bolded, what's not, what's italicized. That's all typography.
Oh, okay. So it's not the words themselves, but like the aesthetic kind of behind it.
Yeah. How can you communicate meaning, right, without actually reading the words? Like what? Gotcha. How does? Yeah.
So besides typography, is it typology? Typography. Any other classes you're going for?
Yeah, I'm taking a class called Form Instructor.
Okay.
It's like 3D art. We do a lot of like 3D printing and stuff, hands-on art. We look at sculptures, like we look at Michelangelo's work, all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So it's kind of like CAD mixed with art class.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. I kind of have a general idea of CAD, even though I never took it. But so I'm kind of trying to bridge a gap here, because I remember you in high school. Everyone's trying to figure things out in high school. I heard from Sean that you really liked the jazz ensemble. You did, right? And since then, I knew you went to Boston. To be honest, I don't even really know what school. I think it's BU. Or did you go to Northeastern?
Northeastern, right?
Northeastern, right? But then I don't know what you're doing or what happened. So we need to play a little catch up. So, was there like a jazz ensemble you were really interested in high school, and it kind of catapulted you to where you are today? Why don't we talk a little about that?
So jazz is like a subset of music that people find hard to understand, right? It doesn't follow the rules, right? It doesn't follow the rules set in place of like classical or like what people like to listen to, because people don't like to listen to jazz, right?
Well, it's not typical. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Right. People find it hard to understand. They don't like it's blaring. Sometimes they find it annoying. But even though it's so different, it really teaches you what the basics of music is.
It's a little offbeat, right? There's a beat to music, and so it's a little offbeat and plays with that, right? Kind of.
But because it's so offbeat, you have to know when it's on beat. You have to be on beat
to be offbeat.
Right. You have to master the basics before playing around with it.
Right. Now you said that people don't like listening to it. So is that a study music you listen to because you like jazz, or no? That's not a type of study music you listen to.
Jazz is terrible study music. It is so bad because once you understand it, there's like so much going on. It's like listening to a lecture. Right.
Yeah, you have to be focused on it.
You have to be focused. You have to listen to the phrases and the intros, the cadences. Everything's there for a purpose in a jazz song, because it's very well thought out.
Right. I the only famous jazz musician I know is Louis Armstrong.
Right.
Yeah,
so
that's
amazing.
he's amazing, right? So that's the only guy I know. Any other figures out there I should know about, or any other famous, like, was there a triumvirate with Louis Armstrong or other famous people that played with him? You don't know.
It's all like semi-famous people.
Semi-famous people, but you would know about.
Right.
Right. Okay.
We idolize them.
Okay.
Such pioneers, but like to the average person, they're like whatever. Right.
It started in 1920s, right? Before that, or was there jazz before that? I just think of saxophone when I think of jazz. I don't know what instruments you use for jazz.
Yeah, jazz is kind of like, since like jazz, the genre really appeared in like the 1940s. Before it was called blues. That's what it was called.
Oh, okay.
And then before that, you know, that's where like the African roots and like the growth of like, you know, the classic American marching band. So it's kind of a marching band.
Oh, marching band. Okay.
Like at the football games.
Yes.
So it's like a combination of these two things, and then that's where you find blues. That's where you find jazz, and then pretty much all the music you hear today is directly influenced by that.
I see. It has a lot of African American roots, right? I think it's the blues, and then I think there are some like songs on like plantations they used to sing, right?
Yeah.
And that evolved into blues, and then I guess into jazz and all that.
Right.
So you got interested in this. Did this interest continue on in college, or you know, how did it start in high school? How did it continue on? And tell me a little about that.
Right. So in high school, it's kind of like something. My mom was like, "Hey, look at this." I was like, "Okay, you know, whatever." Right. I'm nothing to lose. And it turned out to be interesting, right?
Right.
So, and then we did cool things. You know, we played in New York City. We played at like some institute in New York City. Like, you know, like we did pretty good. So I went at a pretty high level. But then in college, right, since COVID hit, right, everything shut down. Yeah. No more clubs, no more extracurriculars. So that really halted my, you know, pursuit, I guess, of jazz. But honestly, jazz is just good to listen to. It's like it's a huge part of our culture, right? And it really influences a lot around it.
It's music to the soul, they say, right?
Right. It's very I think I understand a lot more about, you know, our culture right now.
So you were part of the graduate class that graduated during COVID from high school, right? So you know, like what or any regrets, disappointments, because it kind of took your graduation away from you. Do you feel like the the last page of your high school chapter never quite closed, and here you are like a college student, but you still feel like a high school student, like that, or you're moving on? Yeah, you do?
A little, because there wasn't that like, there wasn't that end of an era, end of the chapter.
You never tossed your cap. Right?
People say it's just a piece of paper, but it's a pretty important piece of paper.
Yes, it is a pretty important
piece of paper.
That's right.
And so I don't, you know, we never really got that. It wasn't like, all right, now high school's ended, you're on to college. Everything was kind of like, sit at your computer, do what you need to do, and then move on.
I'm with you on that. I graduated during COVID too, right? And so I got my diploma mailed to me. And I was like, all right, thanks, you know? It even has like the degrees I got listed on. It was just the general diploma, and that's it.
It's not the same. It's not the same as having a whole ceremony and, you know, having all those people congratulate you.
Right. So on a kind of related note then, it's like, did music help you during this time? You know, what types of music you listen to? Or music is something secondary. What activities did you do that kind of helped you out during this time, you know?
During COVID.
During COVID.
No. Music helped a lot, because I pirated this software off of a website. I'm not sure which website, but
it's probably best not to share too. You know, this is on YouTube.
It probably doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, it's like what music producers use to like create music like digitally. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with like the concept of sampling or interpolating. Like,
I'm only familiar in stats sense, you know, sampling and stats. You
right.
you have a population, take a sample.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar. Okay.
Yeah. So you take, I don't know, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Right.
Right.
Right. It's not right.
Right.
You can, let's say Mozart created a version of that song, and you really like the way that he orchestrated it.
I kind of see where this is going.
To sample it, what it means to sample is just to take exactly what he wrote and just put it in what you're making, right?
So it's like the beginning, da, 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 and then afterwards you do like
can
your own
do whatever
variation
you want with it. Yeah.
That's a very core theme to jazz, right? It's like what's it called? Improvisation.
Improvisation, right.
Right. You got to improvise. You're given something, and then you go off track, but not really off track. Like that's part of it, right? Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I see. Gotcha. So you did a lot of that. I helped you through COVID, right?
Yeah.
Now I want to touch on the more classic side of Peter. You know, people look at Peter. You know, they think he plays the piano, which you did. I know you play piano. I don't know if you did piano during jazz, but you can kind of talk about that. I kind of remember you and Sean. You guys went to Carnegie Hall to perform together. You know, you also perform. You also have piano service in church, right? So I guess there's three things here. There's performance piano. You know, you're performing for a crowd who's gonna clap for you, right? There's serving piano in church where you're not supposed to, like, it's not for yourself, but it's help everyone to like get into the right groove, I guess. I don't know. I think church wouldn't use groove as like a term. They probably like get everyone in their spirit.
In their spirit, right.
Yeah, right. But the music is like groove, right? And then there's also this side of jazz. It's kind of like the more wild side. That's not performance and not church. So how do you reconcile these three? How did these three, maybe they changed during your life? Why don't you talk about that a bit?
Right. So when talking about these like different types of performances, you gotta think about, what am I performing for? Why am I on the stage? Am I in the spotlight, or am I just background music? So right. I guess I'll start with the performance aspect of it. You mentioned Carnegie Hall, right?
Yeah.
So me and Sean, there was this competition. If you won, you would get to play at Carnegie Hall. That would be like a prize. So me and Sean won together a couple of times, and it would be like the day of the performance would be like, we'd be so excited, but we both knew that we were scared out of our minds. Right?
How many people was this in the hall?
It really wasn't that many. But
okay, how's not many? Like if you're 1,000 people. Not
1,000
many.
is a lot. 1,000 is a lot.
Okay. I thought you were gonna be like, yeah, it was about 1,000 people. It's not that many, you know. Like some people do that, you know. So I don't know.
Right. Some people
what's
think,
the number?
Yeah, some people think 5 people is a lot.
All right, yeah.
I mean, maybe like 200.
Oh, that's a lot. All right.
It's still a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But we were like, I don't know, 13, 14, you know.
That's the last time you guys did it together.
We did it a couple. I'm not sure.
Okay, but about that.
Too long ago. But
too long.
We were like,
no,
we were pretty young. We were pretty young, right?
Right.
And I think like the expectations for like these like 10-year-olds, these 11-year-olds to go and perform in like Carnegie Hall is crazy. It's wild. It's a lot to demand for like a little kid. And I just remember being like, when you're backstage and you're like the amongst the next 5 people to perform.
Oh man, yeah.
Perform. You're all sitting in this line. It's like you're getting, called up to like, I don't know, be judged or something, right? The next
last judgment.
Right. The performance ends. Everyone claps. The tech comes in. You're up. You're up. You're up. And you're slowly getting toward the backstage door into the stage. And then all you're thinking is, I can't mess up. What if I mess up? It's gonna be so embarrassing. What if I just forget everything? And
Were you ever afraid that you guys would go off beat? You know, like Sean starts playing. Yeah, you're afraid of that too.
Such an issue because it happens all the time at home. Imagine me and Sean practicing piano diligently. It's hard. It's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But that's performance, right?
Right. And so I think we've come to realize that during the performance you just can't think. It should right. It should be muscle memory at that point. You practice so hard to get to where you are. It should be ingrained in your head. Right. And I think when people mess up, it's when they actually think about playing.
Yes, that's right.
When you walk off the stage, it should be like, where the was my last 3 minutes? It just totally escaped your mind because your body's moving by itself, right? You practice so much. And I think when people mess up, it's when they think, I messed up so many times on this part. I have to get it right. And then
Right. Versus if you're perfect, you'd be like, piece of cake next time too. You wouldn't have the mentality to do better.
Right. And then I guess talking about like accompanying the church. No, you're not the spotlight anymore. You're the exact opposite. There's no audience. I guess your only audience
is God.
God.
But when you say no audience, right? There is an audience still. It's everyone in that room that's listening to you, right? It's just that you shouldn't be the focus, but at the same time, you know, some sister or some brother might look over and like, oh, that's real, you know. So we say no audience, but there is an audience. So how do you reconcile that with when you play? You just have to think no audience. It's just for God, you know. This is my service to God. That's it, right?
I think that's how it's supposed to be like. That's what they expect me to do. But I think like the hymn songs are not very difficult, right? You don't even need to play like the melody. All you need to play is really the chords, right? And I think some people don't have that understanding of music. Like they're better off just reading note for note. They can't break it down into like a sentence. They can't break it down to the noun, verb, adjective, right? Those are like the roots of the chord, right? And I think that's when people mess up. They just can't follow along to the notes.
Right.
But then if you understand it like fundamentally, just play the chords. You know, the singers are gonna do fine. And if you mess up, it's kind of embarrassing. It is. Because like, if you remember, our church wasn't very big, so if you messed up and like people started like stop singing, like, other people stopped singing and then everyone stopped singing. Like, what happened to the piano?
Right.
Like, oh man,
Right. You say it's easy, but when you find a hymn that you've never heard before and you're expected to play it, it's very difficult because you don't know the rhythm, you don't know like the feeling of it. And especially like if you don't have the notes in front of you, you just have the words. Oh, God help you at that point.
Yeah. Forget about it.
Right? So like it's almost like it's expected you do well because like you know the hymn, but if you don't know the hymn, it's like, well, suddenly it's like you're looking at over the edge of a cliff, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like you don't know what to do, you're paralyzed. And so like you've probably had that experience, right?
Yeah.
What do you do? You know?
What do you do?
You improvise. Yeah, that's when you go jazz and improv.
You honestly just can't do anything. You can't, like, there's nothing you can do about it except just follow the page. Try your hardest to follow the page. Sometimes like the singers will just not listen to you. That has happened so many times where like I don't know, I hear my dad just like singing so off key, off rhythm. Is he really listening to me? But yeah, honestly, you're supposed to follow the singers. You're supposed to match their mood, right? So I guess what me and Sean did, we just, played quietly, listen to what they were singing and then try to match,
Gotcha.
their energy.
It's a different feel, right? Yeah.
Right.
Right. You're caboose instead of conductor.
Yeah.
Right. You're doing instead of everyone following you. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's when playing piano. What do you do with jazz then? Do you play tuba? Do you still play piano? Like, what do you do for that?
So I played trombone in high school.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Trombone.
It's like a very, I don't know, obscure instrument. I feel like not
trombone's the one Louis Armstrong holds, right?
That's a trumpet.
Oh shoot. Okay. Shit. It's a trumpet. All right. Trumpet. Trombone is like the one that's it's like an S shape. Oh, the slide thing. Okay, trombone. Yeah. Oh, geez, my music knowledge getting exposed here. Yeah. Then what's the one that's like an S shape?
That's the French horn.
Oh, that's a French horn. Okay, I'm off there.
Yeah.
Okay, you trombone. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those like classic jazz instruments, right? It's like the trumpet, trombone, saxophone, drums, piano, bass. That's like
the classic jazz instrument.
Right. And the trombone's not a spotlight instrument.
Not a spotlight instrument.
Right. We're kind of just like accompanying the trumpets behind us. Trumpets are the band leader, and then the drums are like the band master, the composer.
So it's like church mentality applied to jazz, basically. You're following other people.
I'm just following other people, how they feel. So I have to match their energy. I have to match their mood. And I guess, I don't know, trombone is like an instrument that not a lot of people know about, not a lot of people learn about. And so, you kind of feel alienated. This is like a band and hierarchy.
Left out.
It's kind of nerdy to talk about, but you're kind of like on low level. You don't matter as much.
You're like the kid that no one notices, but just does their job.
Right. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So that's pretty much my experience doing jazz. It's all right. It was a good experience. But then piano is like, 10 fingers, 88 keys. You can do so much more.
Right. And it's loud.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's not deep, right? It could get very high.
It's not deep. It can very high. There's a high range and a low range. You can.
Is that why it's harder to hear the trombone, because it's too deep? And deep is like the sound doesn't like go as far as like a high.
Yeah. Think about like a bland trumpet. You're gonna hear that over the rest of the band.
Right. Gotcha. So that's kind of like high school. I don't know. Maybe this continued on into college, right? But you went to Boston, Northeastern, right, for school. How did the music influence your choice of major or what you did? Any clubs you joined? Is it still a major part of your life? What would you say about that?
Yeah, so I went into Northeastern as a computer science and music technology major.
Whoa.
And then
let me get that. Computer science. Music technology.
It's like a combined major.
Wow. Okay.
So like
I'm trying to think of the acronyms like CS, CSM.
CSMT.
CSMT.
Yeah,
do you guys go like I'm a CSMT mate? No, it's just
you gotta say the whole thing.
You gotta say the whole thing. Okay, it's part of the fun. All right.
Time. Yeah.
I don't know. Like some people, it's like organic chemistry gets shortened to orgo, right? APUS history becomes APUSH.
Right.
I don't know. I didn't know if there was like a thing. Like business analytics, information technology becomes BAIT.
Oh, I never heard of that one.
You never heard of BAIT? It's like a very popular Rutgers major, right? Yeah. I guess supply chain's always supply chain, but like what do you do? SC? No one does that. Computer science becomes comp sci.
Oh, I guess.
Right.
But there's no music. Yeah, every single person I introduce myself to, you gotta say the whole thing.
You gotta say the whole thing.
Like,
all right.
Yeah. But I didn't like the computer science aspect of the major at all. I felt at this school, if you were previously into computer science and you had background experience, you had such an advantage over the rest.
That's how I felt. Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of experience with that in high school because I don't think we had. Well, personally, I wasn't interested, and the classes they offered weren't particularly good. So I didn't really dive into that in high school at all. So when I came into college, I guess freshman year, first semester, they asked you to download this software. Right. The first homework was like code this, code that, code this, code that. And you're like, I wasn't really taught anything, so I don't, do I have to research this on my own? And it was just like hard to get into because I wasn't really interested at all with computer science. I just like the music technology part of it, right?
Right.
So the computer science part was, I guess, like the practical part. I can actually get a job with this major. Yeah.
But it didn't gel with you.
Yeah.
It didn't gel with you at all.
Right. Yeah, at all. So I ended up dropping the major. Start of this sophomore year.
So, start of sophomore year. So was this in person or was this still online?
Start of sophomore year was in person.
It's in person now, but your freshman year beginning, it was online. All online.
I don't think I had an in-person class.
Wow. Do you think that added to it? Like that disconnect, that what you're doing? Definitely.
Definitely. No, right. No like peer-to-peer interactions. You couldn't talk to anyone else. You didn't know anyone else. You barely knew the professor.
Oh, no. Right.
And so it was kind of like, I guess people excel in online classes. Personally, I don't. I just felt like there was no, I couldn't talk to anybody. I was just like given this information. Now I have to do the homework.
Right. And I think the thing with music is like if you're in a band, you need people to play with. Like you can't play over Zoom. You can't talk over people. Like church, they try to play the piano over and then everyone starts to sing. You can't do that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it completely ruins music because like you can't play together. You can't work off of one another. You know what I mean? Like learn from each other. Like that's super important.
Right.
Like comp sci, sure, you could just stay in front of your computer and code by yourself.
Exactly.
Right. And so I get you.
Yeah. Other people are your biggest inspiration in music. That's like you steal from other people. You steal
and they steal from you.
Yeah, exactly. It's but yeah, it was just, I don't know, I couldn't take it. It was just like so much time spent on my computer in a dark room,
Oh, geez.
This is what I'm about to do for the next 4 years of my life.
No, right.
But yeah, I didn't like it at all. So
gotcha.
Now I'm a business and design major.
Business and design major.
Right.
Okay. Business and design. Okay.
Because I also like to go and work with visual art as well. I think visual and audio kind of go like they're very similar.
Yeah.
Right? It makes you think a lot. Like how can I communicate without using words? And yeah, so like business and design major, what is that? How does it relate? So I don't know. I'm honestly still trying to figure that out right now. I'm thinking, right? So I guess there's a lot to business, right? There's marketing, there's entrepreneurship. There's a lot you can do. But what a lot of people have the problem is they have all these ideas, but they don't have a medium, right?
Right.
How can I communicate my ideas to the public? And I feel like with another skill, right, with another piece of knowledge that you have, you can easily do that. You can definitely find a way.
Right. So I guess this major is more about how do you get yourself out there, right? It's kind of like the back end stuff. I don't know if you deal more with like hardware, like audio, video, like microphones, things like that, like Joseph's telling me like your audio for podcast sucks, you need to get like an actual Joseph always picking on me, right? Yeah, like I need a better mic, and probably eventually I do, maybe eventually like get a set,
you have to upgrade the setup.
Gotta upgrade the setup, maybe start getting in-person podcasts, things like that, right? Or like a studios. Dean was talking about it. Dean Lanching, John Tink's friend. He's talking about getting a studio setup going and all that. But I guess eventually, I guess that way. But right now, we make do with what we have, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I guess this business and design major, it's kind of taking into your passion into account and also practicality, right? I think you're not the only one. Technically, I'm still struggling to find like what I should do. Maybe podcast is one thing. I don't know. I still don't know. I'm still trying to figure it all out, right? So for like someone who's in high school, not just like you recently, right? They're trying to figure this out. What advice would you have for them? Go for practicality, passion, find something that crisscrosses both. Like what do you do? There's like a huge world out there.
Right. I'd say just pick something. Just pick anything. Just pick like whatever, because it's gonna change. It's
What's gonna
change of whatever you're aiming for. It's gonna change, right? I feel like someone shouldn't have, such a clear vision of what their future is gonna be. Because any like roadblocks, any obstacles, that's gonna discourage them even further.
Or it's gonna derail you.
Right. But derailing might not be a bad thing. Right? Maybe your vision of the future wasn't actually right for yourself. Maybe the obstacle was there for a reason. And you have to realize yourself, maybe this isn't the future for me. Maybe you have to change. So I think it's a good thing to have your options open, right? And I say, if you like something, just choose it. If you really like it, you're gonna continue in it. If you don't like it at all, you can change, right? Like in college, changing your major is not hard. People often like, oh my God, I changed my major. Like, I have to take so many new classes and stuff. It's not. It's like taking more classes. It's not that. It's not that bad.
Gotcha.
And I think people should be open to change, right?
Yes. Right.
Because that's how you grow. That's how you grow in life, and that's how you have more experiences. So I think in high school, just like do as many things as you can, right? If you like it, just try it. If you don't like it, you just drop it, right?
Right.
Nothing's holding you back from continuing, right?
Right. So we talked a lot about music of jazz, in church, and also your own interest, performance, things like that. What is it about music that attracts people of all different backgrounds? It's like with math, I get it. Some people find there's beauty in that. Maybe your dad, right? Maybe he finds some beauty in that. Maybe that's his music. But even like if even math is your music, you still probably listen to music. Right?
Yeah.
What is it with music that like opens up people? You ever thought about that? It's like maybe like reading a book. Some people just fall asleep hearing it or fall asleep reading it. But if you give them the right music, man, it wakes them up. It gets them. It gets their brain going. So is music something humans invented that like then pleasure themselves with, or is it that there's something like intrinsic with music that attracts people?
I think it's the fact that music makes people move.
Music makes people move. Okay. Right.
What do people do to music? With music? They dance. Right? It's a very. It kind of becomes a physical activity at that point, right?
Right.
You think about music, and there's often a beat, right?
Yes. Right.
Right. It's kind of like a heartbeat, right? And so I guess when you're listening to your music, your body tries to like mimic it. And so like, I feel like there's such a physical aspect of music, like it makes you energized, it makes you want to get up, right?
Right.
Often when you're walking and listening to music, sometimes your steps are on beat.
On beat. Yeah. Right.
It's pretty cool. And I just think like, it's such a different, I don't know what the science is with like our ears and stuff, but it's such like I don't know.
Right.
Very
but it's like
stimulating.
But like the music that gets you up and dance, that's a certain type of music. Like study music's meant to like not get you up and dance, but make you get your brain moving. right? But there's also like bad music, it's like people can kind of tell when music is like, oh, that's not my cup of tea, or that's just plain bad, like that's just offbeat, sounds horrible, it's screechy, right? Like, so it has to be quote quote good music, you know what I mean? Like, so what differentiates like good music versus like bad music? It's like everyone like can hear bad music, you know what I mean? It's like off key and all that. So is this something like, I don't know, like, is it intrinsically with us that we can just kind of tell, kind of like you can tell hot and something's hot and cold, right, by kind of the temperature, right? Do we have like a musical sense within each person?
Yeah. I guess that's formed because of how music, like the rules of music, how music has changed throughout history. Like it started with like I don't know, back then when there were churches, like the really old choirs.
Like the organs, you think of?
That's when you think of it. Like that's where chords really formed.
But how about like cavemen? They play drums and stuff, or like shake maracas. Is that what I'm just making it up, but like, right? It starts simple like that, right?
Right. I think it makes you move. It's like something everyone
and that's when the dancing came in, right? It was accompaniment to dancing. It's like a tribal like activity, right? But then how do we get to the organ?
That's when people, I guess, started to use your voice.
Start using voice.
And then started playing pitch, tone, and how two pitches can sound good together. And then so it kind of creates what we perceive as good music right now.
Okay.
Like a C chord, that sounds happy, that sounds good.
Okay.
Right? But if you play like a C and a C sharp, that sounds dissonant and harsh. Right? Why is that? That's not genes, right? We're kind of we've been brought up in a world where like every chord is part of that, because it's like the grammatical structure of a chord, right? That's how a C chord is supposed to sound.
You think it's societal, like we've determined musical standard? It's not like an inherent thing. No, it's like some people might find like there might be like something good to it. It's like a jarring thing, that you put in movies. I don't know, or something like that, But like it's not, that's like you think it's not something intrinsic within, like we all agree this is good. It's something societally like impacted on us.
Yeah, because if you look in like Indian music,
okay,
or Chinese music, they don't follow the same rules. They don't follow like Western music rules, right? And like in our Western kind of music, there's like 13 notes, whereas in China or India, like there might be like 20 in the scale.
Wow.
20 between the two octaves. So yeah, I think it really is part of like the history and.
But how about like modern day? Now we have rap. Is rap like a derivative of jazz? Or it is? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like rap usually is accompanied by like trap beats.
Beats.
So it's like a bass drum, a hi-hat, snare, and that's the three main instruments.
Okay.
That's the three main instruments used in classical jazz, right? Those are the three main like mood builders. How do we set the tone? How do we set the pace?
Gotcha.
It's those three main instruments. And rap kind of took
precedence over jazz recently.
So kind of became popular in the 80s, 90s, where people were actually rapping about issues.
Rapping about what?
Issues like problems and like problems in the Black community. People would rap about that, like seriously. And then now it's kind of like people rapping about how much money they have, how much cars they have, right? But it's not necessarily bad music, right? How do we why is that worse or better than something someone else made?
It's just the message being conveyed is different. Right. And so, I guess original rappers, they might feel like their skill kind of got hijacked, It's like, I'm just doing it for the music, but then these people who are, making millions of dollars rapping, like they turned it into some monster or something. I don't know. Maybe to them it's a monster, right? Who knows really, right? I can kind of see that. But like, so you think classical music will die out eventually, or like every age, like some music dies out, it's by new ones, or is it kind of like we just accumulate music as we go?
think there will always be an audience for music, like talking about like the subjectivity of music. Like so many people like different things.
Right.
Right. Your neighbor who's a 7-year-old man, he might like rap. Right.
Right.
So I think there's always going to be an audience, and the fact that it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, it's on YouTube makes it so easy for us to listen to every single type of music ever, published. Yeah, and I think it's good because people might think classical music is boring, but it's pretty important to to our modern culture. Like we hear it all the time. Like, it's cool to like listen to a piece of music and then be able to identify it.
Right.
It makes you feel cultured.
Right.
You're like, yes. Oh, yeah, that's Mozart, by the way.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, speaking of culture, you grew up most of your life in New Jersey, right? You went to school in Boston. Different culture in these two areas, Boston versus New Jersey. People more friendly in Boston, more friendly in New Jersey. Like, what do you feel any difference in the environment you're in, or pretty much the same?
It's pretty different. I would say, where we grew up, it's kind of a suburb area. Everyone's nice to each other for the most part. Except, well, public school is a whole different topic, but yeah, you go to the Stop and Shop, everyone's nice to you. I think in Boston there's like a distinction. There's like two separate people. There's like students, and then there's like the actual
people of Boston.
People of Boston. And the students are all very liberal, very nice, it's like Harvard people, MIT people, BU people, like
academic, intellectual.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But then it's funny because like you think about Boston and it has the best schools in the world. Right, the area has the best schools in the world. But then you look at Bostonians and you're like, how did that happen? Right?
Why is there a difference, right? Shouldn't it be like if you're living by the university, like by osmosis, you're like the most prestigious place ever. But it's not like that. What is it that's not like that? Is it like part of Boston? It's like kind of like old, run down.
Yeah, I think the city is pretty old fashioned. I think that's what it is. I don't know, people like to stick to their roots.
Yes.
Right. Right. Thinking about like accents and stuff. Right. Like the typical Bostonian accent, like I don't even. It's like harsh. It's like kind of rude a little bit. But they got it from their parents, and I think there's a lot of Italians in Boston.
I didn't know.
I'm not sure, or Irish.
Oh, it's okay.
It might be Irish. Okay. But I don't know. Maybe they value their family a lot. Maybe they stick to that kind of tradition.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I don't know why it's so different. I don't know
either. Yeah.
So
maybe you'll figure it out these next 2 years a little bit more. We never truly figure it out, but you kind of get a better feel about it.
Right.
So like now you're in Boston, for most of your life you're in New Jersey. You made a lot of friends in New Jersey. Do you stay in touch with anyone or a lot of people? Is it kind of hard to, or like what about that?
It's a little hard to because I'm kind of a bad texter. I don't I don't like to respond to people because I say to myself I'll do it later. I see the I don't know, the notification pop up. I'll text them back later.
I see.
2 days later. oh shoot. I need
right.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's on my part. I'm a bad person for doing that. But I think it's important. Well, I think keeping in touch is good because you never know when you're gonna end up. Right. You need to have these connections. You need to have people that you can trust, I guess.
But some people, they go to college, they delete all their previous contacts, right, and just fresh slate, right? Is that kind of like not good? You're shooting yourself in the foot, or is that like another way of living life? You know what I mean? on the riskier side. You burned your bridges.
Right. I guess some people are just like that. I don't know. I don't know what they didn't like
thinking
about
what's going through their head.
Because that's like a major change. That's like a fresh start. You're put into a whole different situation, and that's a lot of social interactions. That's a lot of social responsibilities.
Yeah.
Which I don't like at all. Right.
Right.
I feel like making friends is such like a tiring process. You gotta talk to so many. Invest your time. But in the end, it's good. It's good to have friends.
Is it good? Talk to. Some people are very Machiavellian, right? Ends justify means. You're not here to make friends. You're here for a goal, a reason. Right. If you make friends, it's gonna bog you down. Right. How do you reconcile that mentality? Is that a wrong mentality, or is it like different means for different people?
Right. I think it depends on like why you're going to college. Right. Your reason for going to college. Some people have the mindset like, I'm paying so much money for this, I have to do good. Right. I have to take this opportunity to just do as well as I can. Right. I paid for my education. I can't waste it. And then I guess some people think college is like a time to, I don't know, you're away from your parents for the first time. You just
that's right.
Drop everything. Classes are whatever. You don't have to go to class. And I'm kind of in between. So, college is.
You're dipping in both, right?
Right. You have to take your education seriously because that like kind of opens up your future a lot more.
It's expensive too, right?
Yeah, right.
It's an investment.
Right. Think about when you fail a class. Where did all that money go?
Yeah, right.
Where did all that money go? But then at the same time, you're like, you can't be alone, right?
That's right. Yeah.
I feel like humans feed off of other humans. Like we get our energy off of other humans.
We're very tribal still.
Right. We like to pack up. We like to
form groups.
Be around other people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just important to have in a college environment. Right?
Right, yeah. And that was missing with Zoom.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And so that's a huge part gone. It's almost everything gone. It's like removing the skeleton from you.
Yeah. Not even talking about like breakout rooms. Those are the worst. Like
hi, yeah. How you doing?
Like even quieter inside.
Yeah. I got you.
Like so awkward. Like what am I the Zoom, I don't know, it's not the same. It really isn't.
Right. Now growing up, you were kind of like the good kid, quote quote. Not to mention names like Sean, right, or like Zion over there in his podcast was like, I'm a bad kid, the worst kid. I'm like, what, academically or behavior? He's like both, and I was like, okay. He admits it, right? Yeah. And Joseph, like, okay, he's sometimes behavior a little bit wild. Like academically, okay, fine, he's good, but behavior-wise, a little off. You're kind of like the good kid, right? But you said something earlier on about music, about jazz. Jazz is kind of you have to go off beat, but to go off beat, you have to be on beat first, right? To go off beat. So, but that's where you got the fun. So being like a good kid for so long, right? It's kind of like you mastered it, you got it, but you kind of feel life's kind of boring like that, So you kind of like be a bad kid now. Have you thought about that? Is that the good kid experience? You have to like turn to the dark side of it sometimes. What do you think?
Yeah. I think it's all about like, I don't know. I feel like because like the clique was like me, Zion, Sean, Joseph. A lot of rowdiness going on.
Oh yeah.
A lot of like unhinged stuff going on. A lot of bad examples.
It wasn't all bad. It wasn't all bad.
It wasn't all.
It's pretty good.
But I guess if you think about like the dynamic of our group, like I feel like there needed to be, I don't know. I feel like
a balance
a good balance of kids, right?
Right.
You know what?
Like not everyone can be a bad kid.
Right.
That what you're saying? Not everyone can be a good kid too. You need both.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
So like, I don't know. So many times where it's just like, oh, Zion, can you do this? Sean, can you do this? And they're like, what? No. I'm just like, all right,
that's me.
I'll
right.
step up. You know, it's not big of a deal. And I think it just kind of like grounded us as like a group. You know, we're all good kids now. We're all like pretty good kids now, right? None of us have turned out for the worst. Hopefully.
Right.
And I think that bringing up in the church, I think that kind of taught us like to be good kids, right? It's kind of like, although there were like Zion describing himself as a bad kid, right? Nothing like too bad. Nothing like really bad. It was just
he's not hitting up sisters or doing drugs and things like that, right? Okay. That we know of at least.
Yeah. I don't know.
Right. I know what you mean.
To hide early.
Gotcha. But like, do you feel constrained being the good kid? You kind of say like, oh, it's fine. I guess it has to be me, right? But you're kind of like couldn't be your true self in the meetings. Do you know what I mean? Like you're forced to be a certain way because of the environment. You're not actually the way you are because that's who you want to be or who you are genuinely. You know what I mean? Maybe you didn't think. I don't know. Maybe I'm just making it up. But like, just some thought about that.
I don't know. I think it's the way my parents raised me. Right. I'm sure Zion's parents expected him to have good manners and stuff, but I don't know. I just like I took it more seriously, I guess. I'm like, there's a certain level of respect that you have to, you know.
yes.
And like if you're in such an environment, you just gotta, you know, go along with it, right?
That's kind of like me. Yeah. If it's a teacher, you can't be like shouting curse words or whatnot, right? Or like if it's the president in the room, you know, you can't be like, it's not casual talk there, right? You gotta be. There's a certain like, I know what you mean. Yeah.
They're there to teach you something or tell you something. Give him your attention.
Gotcha.
Give them your attention. And I just feel like the way we turned out was pretty good. I liked it. I like the way we turned out so far.
So far, all right.
Right.
Guess we gotta look at the next 75 years, right? Do you have speaking of like going on time and all that, like we talked about this a bit, like improving the podcast, right? I sometimes talk with people kind of like meta podcasts, you know, what could go better? We talked about audio systems. Do you have any ideas, you know? Are headsets good, or do you need those like table mics, you know? Like you're kind of like the music guy, you know? What produces the best audio, right? If we want to make this better, how do we do that? You got any ideas?
Yeah. Obviously, you need to have the best tech.
Better what?
But that's the best tech to have the best like audio equipment. But that's a lot of money.
Right.
Audio equipment is a lot of money, especially for like the really high-end ones.
Right.
But there are low budget options that work perfectly fine.
You have any like brands low budget that we could like kind of think about?
Honestly, just go on Amazon.
Go on Amazon. All right.
Right.
You want to share screen? We'll like do a share screen Amazon section. Yeah, let's take a look right now. We're gonna go shopping for headphones and audio equipment right now. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Amazon.
Here we go. Okay, Amazon.
What are you looking for? Let's go with microphones.
Right? Microphone. Yeah, let's start with microphone. Yeah.
Microphones. Look, for podcasts.
For podcasting. Wow.
Great.
Yeah, everyone's doing podcasts these days. So there we go.
Yeah. And, you know, honestly, any of these mics will work fine.
Okay, so
but
yeah,
the thing is that do you really want like a big mic in front of you? Right.
That's no question. Like I've already designed this like icon for me on YouTube where I have the head mic. So I don't know if there's like a headset mic that works out.
Yeah, maybe that'll be like your thing.
Maybe that's my thing, right? A headset mic. Yeah. Maybe that's the.
All right. This is a little nerdy.
Okay, but you knew where to look. Look at that. All right.
Yeah. So this is like a pretty good piece of equipment.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I recommend this headset a lot. It's not, you're not doing any like music work, right?
No, I don't think so. No music work. Yeah.
So like, you'll do fine. Honestly, yeah.
Dude, we should we should start doing advertisements. Like, buy this piece of equipment, and then we should
maybe you'll get a sponsor.
Yeah, a sponsor on a podcast, right? We're advertising this project right now, right?
Pretty fair. You don't have to pay for.
Okay, I'll look into that. Yeah, send me a link after, and then or HyperX Cloud. I'll just look at the podcast, and then we'll go from there. Gotcha. Yeah. Well, that's really all I had. Now it's your turn. You have anything like you want to ask or like you want to talk about? We could talk about.
I don't know. What have you been up?
What have you been up to?
You've been working, right? You've been working.
Yeah. So work, it's kind of like a return to like high school, basically. High school is like 9 to, well, sometimes earlier, 7 to 6, or like 7 to 3. But sometimes you have like after school stuff, so it's like really to 6 or whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that return to like a routine, not like college where you're kind of free. Your schedule is very flexible, right? So that's something. Yeah, really just work, and then Thursdays I record the podcast with someone, trying to do someone new every week, and then I'm trying to figure out how to bring people on that's already been on. You know what I mean? Because as I get more people, it's going to be hard to keep in contact with everyone, right? So how do I do that? How much time do I invest in that? That's kind of what I think. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, edit podcasts. Hang out with people. That's pretty much my life right now. Maybe like a bit of it. Maybe I should be using more time to kind of think like bigger. It's like, do I want to? What really do I want? Like what do I give to the world? Is it just work, or is there something more? Besides video games, right? Like I think video games sometimes it's like it's fun when you're playing it, right? And a lot of people, they play a lot of it because kind of the world kind of sucks right now, right? You're at home all the time. There's no sense of achievement, but video games, it gives you that quick sense of achievement. You win a game, you're very happy about it. Right? I feel so maybe some people like they've been hooked on games during COVID because like, it's is there a sense of something to do, right? It gives them a sense of achievement. For me, I'm kind of like I'm not that, but I not sympathize, but like I feel bad for those people. I don't want to help them, but don't know quite how. But I also understand that feeling for you want an achievement, right? And so I don't know if podcast is this thing for me. Like this is
a full side project.
All right. So
occupying yourself with stuff is good.
Right. So I'm doing the editing right now. I know high school. I have high school editing skills, right? I didn't take any.
Use?
I use iMovie just to edit.
Oh, okay.
I take this from Zoom, and then like the Zoom is still Rutgers Zoom. So like I'm already not a Cal State, but I'm still leeching off of Rutgers, right? And so I'm doing that. Well, they're gonna close my account in September, so I got to think about something to do there. But until then, like I'm good, right?
Better get all your podcasts done.
Better get it all in. But yeah, I'm trying to get to 150 people. There's no way I'm gonna get to 150 before then. I'm on you're number 17, right? So like we got ways to go. Good
progress.
Yeah, and so, and it's also like I told everyone before, it's not just to do it and say like, ha, I hit 150, it's like to better understand people, and for you too, 17, maybe we'll do like a 17.1 soon, a 17.2, and then each person we keep going and see how far we get. This is like my business with each person. We can do it differently. Like Andrew's thinking of turning this into like a more like history telling story, right? Kind of like talk about the history of certain things. So that's kind of what we did with Ukraine, kind of. But I don't know what to do with you, like maybe it's just a casual conversation. Everyone's different. So I'm just trying to find my... Huh?
Read up on your music.
I got to read up on my music for sure. Yeah, confusing a trombone, a tuba, a trumpet. no good. French horn. Yeah, no good. especially since I was in orchestra before. But that just tells you how much I've forgotten. Yeah.
Right.
But like you see, like for the things you've learned in high school, right? I guess music is something you've taken away a lot, right? It sticks with you. There's just some things that don't stick, like biology, math, chemistry. It's out the window.
Out the window.
Out the window.
Like, H2O, that's water.
do you still remember radians and degrees?
Maybe I need a unit circle.
Yeah. Okay. Good. It's a pretty honest answer. Yeah. So do you feel like it's kind of like a waste up to this point? It's like, why didn't they just tell me what I needed to learn, and then just do? Or do you think there was like something to a process? There was something to it. What is it?
I think there's definitely something to it, right? Because another kid's gonna like math.
Okay.
Right.
It's part of that trial and error.
Right. The school can't offer like classes specifically for you.
Right.
And you can't expect to only learn music throughout your whole high school, right? You got to explore other things.
Right.
And I feel like the fact that they force you to do math, I don't know. I think it might improve your problem-solving skills. I don't know if that's BS or true or, but I don't know.
You have to at least know 1 + 1 is 2.
You gotta know. You gotta know that.
Yeah. It helps you deal with money too.
Basic knowledge.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
We didn't go straight into reading novels, right? You have to learn the letters.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. But so like I guess you learn it, and then some things, obviously, like some people, maybe mathematicians, they found the math part useful. You got the music part useful. What I found interesting that you said earlier on is like, if you don't know what to do, just try something. So I guess that's the part where when you're younger, you're supposed to try things. So what if there's this kid that's super young, like child prodigy, 5 years old, they're like, I'm gonna do math. Should we make him a more well-rounded individual, or he knows what he's doing, he should just go after it? Do you know what I mean? Or is that too young of an age?
5 years old.
5 years old,
And he loves math. I watched.
Or like history, or science, or something.
I watched like a video about like Terrence Tao.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah, and they're like, he was doing like high school tests at like 6 years old or something. I guess that's an extreme example. Mm-hmm. But like, look where he is now, right? He's
that's
like
right.
A huge figure. I don't know about the regular person though. I feel like 5 is too young to really decide their future.
Is 18 kind of the right age then?
16.
18.
18. No,
16 to 18 range. 16 to 18 range. Okay.
You gotta enjoy yourself when you're 16.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, 5-year-old is way too young. I feel like if he likes math until he's 10 years old, maybe
go for it.
If he loves math like that, sure.
I see. Right? Or music. What if you're a music prodigy?
Yeah, sure.
Same thing. 10 years old.
A lot of music, like famous music people, they've been, they're like, I wrote my first song when I was 4.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe they're the Terrence Taos of music,
Right.
Maybe,
yeah.
But yeah.
So you're kind of going down this music route, I guess. Any like frustrations then, or like regrets? Anything you're not sure about? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I think right now music is more of like a hobby to me.
Hobby. Okay.
Since I did switch my major. I like to like write, or I like to like compose. I like to write music. And I guess like to me, what's the end point of that? Like, what am I doing this to accomplish? Right? Do I want to publish something? Do I want to make something, available to the public for everyone to hear? Like what you're doing with this podcast, right?
Right.
And if you know the artist Andy Warhol.
Yeah, Andy Warhol.
He said, everyone in the future is gonna have 15 minutes of fame.
50 minutes of fame. Okay.
15
Okay.
minutes of fame.
15.
Right?
1-5.
1-5.
Okay.
Right. You
Right.
know, maybe there's that off chance that some people enjoy my music. It doesn't have to be billions of people. Right.
Right.
You know, the fact that someone else likes what I've made, I think that sense of satisfaction is what I'm, I guess, looking for.
Right.
You know?
Gotcha.
I've done all this work all these years. What does that amount to? Right?
Right.
How can I show other people I really know what I'm doing?
What would you be satisfied with then? You say all these years of work, right? What would be like, yes, I made it. You know, like 10,000 people subscribe, or like I don't know. What is it? What is it? Because Zion and I kind of talk about defining success. It's very hard because it's different for each person. But what would be success to like you?
Since I don't know, I don't want to go into it professionally, music, because it's a very complicated industry. Yeah. And very difficult to succeed in.
Yeah, it's volatile too.
Right. So I think success for me would just go into that process of, I guess a collective group of works would be like an album. So if I were to make an album, I guess the process of making it as artistically pleasing, right? As I want it to. Make it the best work I can put out. And I guess the process of, putting it online, publishing it, right? Maybe I don't know.
Maybe YouTube?
Maybe Spotify, maybe whatever.
Spotify. That's what just what I was about to ask. What medium are you going to use? Because we talked about medium, right? It's like what medium will allow me to get out to the general public. So for you, it's like where do you post? Maybe we could like put it in the description and then like get people on. You know what I mean?
I don't have anything public right now.
Okay, no public stuff. All right.
Definitely thinking about. It's pretty easy to put your stuff on Spotify now.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not,
people are telling me to move podcasts on Spotify, but I don't think I'm doing it. I don't know. Yeah. Right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because then people can like listen to it without having their screen open.
True. That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
They can be like taking a walk and listen.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess going through the process of actually doing it and publishing and putting it out there, maybe receive some feedback. That would be my successful music venture.
Gotcha. How about life then? What would be successful life too?
I would just say like, I don't know, in our classical sense, like find a job, get a family.
Okay.
Right, settle down.
I'm with you on that, sure.
Right?
Yeah. Right, yeah.
But then at the same time, you gotta occupy yourself with other stuff, right? You can't just be like going down one path. There's other. I feel like there's other things you need to invest your time in.
I see. But like family is a huge investment. You know what I mean? It might be that once
true,
you invest in that, there you go, bingo. You already knew what I was gonna say. So right. So like, how do you? Is it like it's opportunity cost? Maybe like you choose one, you're gonna lose the other. You know? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's hard to budget your time. I feel like as you get older, you have to think about these things more clearly.
Right.
I really didn't have to think about that at all in the last 5 years or so. But then as you grow older, you got to really think about it, and
it's kind of overwhelming sometimes, right?
It's a lot to think.
Like I feel like graduation. I feel some people they have like a internship or job or something lined up. Right. For me, I didn't. I had no clue what I was gonna do after graduation. It felt like staring over Niagara Falls. It's like you're on a boat. You know what's up ahead. There's a waterfall coming. A break in life. It's like you can't continue on like as you are. But the thing is, you can't do anything about it, and you don't. And it's like you can't swim backwards. The river's slowing down. Right? Do you feel you're about to go over a waterfall sometimes?
Yeah. Like I don't know. Sometimes you just have nothing to offer, right? And there's a deadline.
Yes.
What can I do about it? If I can't start it now, it'll look worse than not turning anything in. Right?
So what are you gonna do? Like, are you gonna go gracefully over this waterfall? Are you gonna jump ship? Or are you gonna go like epic like last stand, try to swim against the current? What's your way of going?
I guess just learn as many survival tips as you can, just like
before you're going down.
Right. Or when you're already down there, just learn how to survive.
Be at peace with where you are.
Right. You kind of sometimes you just have to accept things. Right. I'm not at a level where I'm supposed to be at. Maybe I should be. Maybe I should actually try this time.
Gotcha.
Right? I don't know. Sometimes you don't take some like other things seriously.
Right.
And then it hits you in the face. You're like, oh shoot.
Right. You learn.
I actually got to pay attention to it.
Learning things the hard way, right? Versus like preparing easier, things like that.
Yeah, like in one of my classes, this professor is like so mean, such an
We bleep that out. Yeah, no worries. We did that with Zion too.
But then I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, maybe that's good for us. It was like I said, it was like our typography class. And he said, we're presenting so we have to print out our own design of a book. So let's say I really like The Great Gatsby. The assignment is to make your own design of the book, right?
Right.
Yeah, and there's a lot to it. Where you put the author's name, where you put the page numbers, how you style your font. And then so the teacher's like, he goes around, and he inspects everyone's work. He's like, your columns are way too small. This has to be centered. This has to be indented. Wow. And like to the point, and in such a manner, in such like a tone that it's very aggressive. It's not constructive at all.
Oh.
But it is constructive.
You think his heart's there, like to help you guys?
Right. Because you learn the information quicker.
When you get yelled at. Yeah, that's true. Versus someone nicely telling you something, yeah, you definitely hear the person yelling.
Kind of brush it off.
Yeah.
This might be fine. It's okay.
Right. But someone's yelling at you, and you're not gonna. Someone's holding a gun to your head. You're gonna do it.
You're never gonna do it again. Trust me.
Right. Well, it's about time. Okay. You got any other topics you wanna last minute stuff or?
I don't know. I think we covered a lot of things.
We did. Yeah. Very different than previous podcasts, I think. Yeah. We never went this in depth.
You're tapping into your creative.
I'm tapping into my creative.
Right. Because you talk to Zion. He's like art.
Right.
Maybe.
Well,
yeah.
Sean and I talked about business, capitalism, politics. Sean digs that stuff. I know.
Yeah.
At Joseph, we just went like on tangents about a lot of different things, just like how COVID's been and all that.
Right.
But like each person, I talk about what I think that person wants to talk about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no set structure really. It's just like I think of topics like this. Peter's probably interested in this. Or like since high school, we've never really talked about so and so. And so that's kind of what we do. And so like when people, it's funny because like when people ask me like, and I ask them like, do you want to come on the podcast? They're like, what do we talk about? And I'm like, anything you want, right? It's not like, it's not like a politics podcast where you talk about politics. Right. It's not like a math podcast where you just talk about math. It's not like a music podcast where you talk about music. It's really just how everyone's doing, how everyone's doing, how everything's going. What?
You just want to learn.
Yeah, I want to learn more about people, right? Yeah. It's not just surface level stuff,
right?
Especially in like group settings, maybe in school. Imagine a school, all you did was went to class with people, right? You don't get to know people. You don't know people that way. You learn people hanging out with them outside of class. I feel like a big problem in church is that we just hang out with each other in meetings. You never really get to know people outside of meetings, right? I think for Berkeley Heights or the young people like us, right, our group, like at least. Yeah, but we still like, at least for us, like we did some stuff outside.
We got to know each other.
Yeah, right. Instead of just like meeting by meeting, So
yeah, and then when you go to like, I don't know, a different locality, and you're speaking with other people, it's kind of, like you said, it's kind of like that surface level talk.
It's just the tip of the iceberg, right? You have no idea what the guy likes, what they're going through, things like that. So how do you break that though? I don't really know. Like that. This is why I do the podcast, because I feel like the only way to really know a person is one-on-one.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why when people like talk to me about like doing a group podcast, I'm kind of hesitant, because I feel like if there's even just 3 people, one person might not be able to talk at all. Like the other 2 just crowd out the third person. Third person becomes like a third wheel. But I have been thinking about maybe like doing like a side like group podcast 1, and then we just like do groups where like I know each person in the group can contribute something.
Yeah, maybe the group was like free form. Maybe it was like your college study. You all know each other.
Or like you, Joseph, Sean, and Diane, right there. Right? The five of us together.
That'll be a hilarious one.
Right. Maybe get Alan and Edson in there too. I don't know, right? So I've been thinking about that, but I really don't know how to solve the group issue. How do you get deep with people in a group? It's hard because there might be that one person in the group where everyone's uncomfortable around, and then that it just takes one bad link. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know. I'm tired of that surface levelness, and I think it's been
everyone you know.
Yeah, right. It's amplified by Zoom. You know what I mean? The group problem, because then you could really just mute yourself, turn off the camera, and you're there and not there.
Right. At the same time. Schrodinger's Zoom.
Huh? What do you say?
Schrodinger's Zoom. Like
church what?
All right, it's like Schrodinger's cat.
Oh, Schrodinger's Zoom. Schrodinger. Oh, okay. Yeah, Schrodinger's Zoom. Yes, you're there and not there. Yes, that's the thing. Yeah. Right. But like with podcasts, like I feel like you can't turn off your camera. I mean, you could right now. You could turn off your camera, but then if you go silent, like who am I talking to? You can't do it.
Yeah,
you can't do it. Right, exactly. And so you have to, right. And it's like if you didn't want to participate, you wouldn't have come on, right?
Yeah.
You always had that choice.
Simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And so that's really what I'm up to, and then why I'm doing it this way. Yeah.
I'm about to be here till like July.
5 a.m.
What?
5 a.m.
July.
Oh, I thought you said you're gonna be in this room until 5 a.m. I'm like, geez, you got a lot of studying to do. Yeah, still talking to me. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I learned is that I deeply need a break.
Gotcha. July to September then?
Yeah. I don't think I appreciated like breaks as much before.
Well, let me know when you're back, because maybe the 5 of us, we could grab like Sushi Palace or Smash Burger.
Sure,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
Every summer, we keep it alive. Remember last time we went, they didn't have the all you can eat. We went to Smash Burger.
Oh yeah.
I was starving myself that day. You know how you eat sushi, all you can eat, right? So you gotta starve yourself.
You have to starve yourself.
Right, and we all starved ourselves. You probably did it too that day too.
I was excited.
Yeah, we were all waiting. Yeah, and then we had to go Smash Burger. Yeah. It's not that Smash Burger is bad. We love it, but like, it still left us with an empty stomach. Yeah, we couldn't eat all we want. Yeah. But this time we gotta call ahead and make sure they're. I called ahead too. They said they are. Anyways, yeah. We won't trash on Sushi Palace. We want to promote it so it gets better. Yeah. Sushi Palace, great. Yeah.
Maybe you can sponsor our meal.
sponsor us here below or in this next video. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Peter, for coming on. I hope it was a fun experience, and have you back soon for another one.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. All right. Good night, everyone.
See ya.